Daniel Jones, let's move on a little bit to kind of that talk. This was kind of the interesting, I believe he was in year 4 last year. No, 5, year 5. And then the year before that. So a lot of coming into last year, I was like, Daniel Jones not going to get us. And I think a lot of people were with me, not going to get a second contract. And then last year, just everything changes with him. And now he got it was like 35 million, 38 million, something like that, long-term deal, or I believe it was 3 years. But anyways, what changed from year 4 to 5? I mean, I have kind of a good idea. I think the quarterback, the coaching situation changed. They finally got it right on the coaching situation. Joe Judge was not the right guy. You could see that. And then they got a guy, Brian Daboll, who developed Josh Allen, after what the Bills did this last year, I believe was really a big part of why the Josh Allen was Josh Allen for a big part of his career. And so you brought in Brian Daboll, and you're probably going to agree with me. I knew this was probably your answer, but and then the second kind of question. So is this team capable of winning a Super Bowl with Jones as quarterback, and what changed with his play from year 4 to 5?
Coaching, you hit the nail right on the head when it comes to coaching, because Daniel Jones had by far the worst offensive coordinator in the entire NFL.
Yeah.
When Jason Garrett was our offensive coordinator, and then Joe Judge. Just look at Mac Jones. Look at the season Mac Jones had last year when Joe Judge was kind of helping out with the offense. And I know Matt Patricia was, I guess, technically the offensive coordinator, but the coaching upgrade it's just night and day. Like, receivers are actually running open.
Yeah.
We actually have like competent play caller. Mike Kafka is, I think, going to be a head coach, if not next season, definitely the year after. He's a great offensive coordinator we got from Kansas City. So Jones, one of the worst offensive lines in all of football. His first 4 seasons, I think having Andrew Thomas there as an all-pro really, helped his confidence. He doesn't fumble the ball anymore. He's using his legs more. And I think that's one of the best things about Brian Daboll is he puts Jones in a position to succeed and uses his strengths. And one of his greatest strengths is he's very athletic. And there's a lot of designed runs where they'll do those like kind of RPO plays where they'll fake it to Saquon and it'll run to the outside. And they've been really successful with that. And I know the 49ers do that kind of thing too. But I think improved receivers. I don't think we've really had great receivers since Daniel Jones has been our quarterback. I think he's going to kind of take that jump. I wouldn't put him in that category with Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Mahomes, Burrow. He's not in that category of the elite quarterbacks, but I think he's kind of right outside that. I would put him borderline top 10. And I think the mainstream media, the average NFL fan who's not following the Giants so closely would not put Daniel Jones in the top 10, in even stratosphere. But I think after this season, they're going to kind of consider Jones a borderline top 10 quarterback, because I think he's going to make that jump. I do think the Giants can win a Super Bowl with Daniel Jones. I wouldn't predict that to happen this year or next, but I think as this coaching staff kind of gets the players that it wants and we get some elite receivers and our offensive line improves, our defense is getting much better, which we haven't even talked about yet. But I do think a Super Bowl with Daniel Jones. I'm not predicting it, but I think it's definitely a possibility.
Well, and the biggest thing with him, you said athleticism. He can go down the field, and you got Jalen Hyatt now. You obviously have Darius Slayton coming back, and it's like, so we're gonna kill you underneath with Hodgins and Saquon Barkley, and then when you're least expecting it, we're gonna do a bootleg and bomb it deep to Jalen Hyatt, Darius Slayton, different players like that. So it gives kind of that flexibility in the offense that you guys need. And I was looking up, so like the consensus top 10 guys are like Deshaun Watson, Kirk Cousins. I saw a rankings that was like Brock Purdy ahead of Daniel Jones. I do not agree with that. I'm not really sure what a lot of people were thinking, but it's like, is he better than Kirk Cousins, Deshaun Watson, and Brock Purdy? Maybe. Okay, Deshaun Watson, that's an argument to be made, but then again, it's like he hasn't played at a high level in a few years. You have, Daniel Jones, his confidence after this last year probably has to be at an all-time high. So right now, would I put him ahead of Deshaun Watson? That's possible. There's an argument to be made there. And then Kirk Cousins, I mean, he beat Kirk Cousins in the playoffs and played a lot better than him. So would I put him ahead of Kirk Cousins? That too. So yeah, I think he is close to top 10. I mean, is he better than Brock Purdy, Jared Goff, Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins, Deshaun Watson, all guys that are from like the 10 to 15 range? I think so. I think you could make that argument. Absolutely. So he played the best out of any of those quarterbacks in the playoffs.
Jones is he got better as the season progressed last year. Like he wasn't the same quarterback week 1 as he was in that playoff win against the Vikings. And the entire team was outmatched against the Eagles. Their defensive line just destroyed
Oh,
us. Jones
yeah,
had no
exactly.
time to throw. We didn't have anyone running open. The Eagles have a good secondary as well. So, I think that game against the Eagles left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. And I have debates all the time with Giants fans on Giants Twitter who are very much against the Giants giving Daniel Jones that big contract, $40 million a year. So even in the Giants fan base, there's not a consensus on Daniel Jones. A lot of people think he's overrated. They think he's not ever going to be on that elite status of like a Justin Herbert or even like a Tua from the Dolphins. But I think Jones is going to continue to get better. He's a very hard worker. He's very athletic. He's 6'5". He's a legit big quarterback. You could see over the offensive line. So he checks like every box when it comes to what you want in a good quarterback. I think the one thing he needs to improve upon is probably going through his progressions and
Right.
not getting tunnel vision. But I think Dayball has really worked on with him is when that first receiver is not open, he used to kind of panic and just get sacked and fumble. But now he kind of uses his athleticism to buy himself time and he could run for a first down or he can kind of continue going through his reads while he's scrambling outside the pocket. So I think he's going to continue getting better. And part of the reason I'm so high on him is because I'm so high on our head coach, Brian Daboll, who was coach of the year last year. And I think they're going to be a good tandem, and I think he's going to get the most out of Jones.
Right. And shout out before we move on, shout out to Ryan Daboll or Brian Daboll. Sorry. I always get the kind of name mixed up. Brian Daboll. Shout out to him though, because it's like a lot of coaches when they come into the organization just say, I'm going to get rid of the quarterback. I'm going to start it my way. I'm going to get the guy that I want. He came in and said, no, I can work with this guy. I can make something happen. He wasn't the quarterback that I obviously picked, but I'm going to work with this guy. And that's probably in the hiring process. The Giants owners were probably like, you have to work with Daniel Jones and make something happen with him. But still, it's impressive what he was able to do with a quarterback that he didn't really he didn't pick. So yeah.
Because if you remember last offseason, the Giants declined picking up Daniel Jones' fifth-year option. So
Right.
Jones could be on the books right now for a much lesser salary, but they weren't initially sold on him based on his tape during Jones' first 4 seasons. But I think working together closely and seeing the way he progressed throughout the season, I don't think there was any way the Giants were going to let Daniel Jones hit free agency, which is why they ended up giving him such a big salary this year.